Please be advised that this recorded webinar has been edited from its original format, which may have included a product demo. To set up a live demo or to request more information, please complete the form to the right. Or if you are currently not on CSE Global, there is a link to the website in the description of this video. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's Industry Updates webinar, To Block or Not to Block, Best Practices for Domain Blocking Strategies. My name is Tariq Hopkins, and I'll be your moderator. Joining us today is Eva Zane. Eva is a Domain Product Manager here at CSC. And with that, let's welcome Eva.
Thanks, Tariq, and thank you everyone for joining us today. What we'll cover today is just a little bit of information about what is domain blocking. We'll take a brief look at the history of the existing blocking programs, how they came to be, and what's happening with them today. Then we'll jump in a little bit into more detail about what blocks we have available today and how they really work. And then just focus a little bit more on adult blocks in specific and some strategic recommendations to consider for the rest of this year. And at the end, just a quick brief overview of the TMCH and things to think about when reviewing your blocking program. So let us start with the definition of blocking and really how it fits into your overall domain name registration strategy. Domain blocking is a top-level registry service that allows brand owners to block potential third-party registrations from other registrations and potentially from cyber squatters. The block domain registration would be pretty much anything left of the dot, meaning my brand or my brand string.com. A block protects everything left of the .com and pretty much prohibits other parties from registering the same exact match of your domain. Blocks can reduce cyber squatting and provide an active approach to protecting your trademarks online. They can be an effective way of protecting your marks without really breaking a bank, and that's a huge benefit of your blocking mechanisms here. They really replace the need for mass defensive registration and save you costs also by reducing the volume of cyber squatting, meaning they save the cost on enforcement and they save the cost on reputational damage. Blocking mechanisms really need to be part of your conscious three-pronged defensive domain name strategy. So as a brand holder, you can choose to either block, register defensively, or maybe be more proactive and monitor the space rather than registering and taking enforcement action instead. You really can choose to apply a different approach to a different mark that belongs to your portfolio. And that really depends on your budget. So budget, risk tolerance, and your overall security posture will help you decide what do we register, what do we monitor, and what do we block. It is important to remember that blocks really do come in very different shapes and forms, and it's very important to understand the differences between the blocks when making the decisions what to block, what to register, and what to monitor for. And that's the goal of our today's meeting. We will really jump into more detail to help you understand the different variants, what they protect, what they don't protect, and help find and define the right approach for your portfolio. Before we jump into the details of how the blocks currently work, let's just take a quick look at the history of our blocking mechanisms. Blocking first started back in 2011 with the launch of the XXX extension. The XXX Registry introduced a blocking program where trademark holders could block others from registering domain names containing their brand. Based on the nature of the TLD and based on the intended use in the adult industry, many trademark holders were really happy to see this alternative option where they didn't have to defensively register, but really want to just have that name blocked so nobody else can use it for bad purposes. And many of our brand holders did not want to be associated with that extension at all. So the new GTLD program then emerged in 2012, and new GTLDs came online at the end of about 2013, and then continued to get launched over time, even still launching today. So pretty much from the first round of the new GTLD program, blocking became a pretty popular idea again, because brand holders were voicing their need to have some protective rights in that space. Donuts was the first registry that started offering a new blocking service, and the Donuts DPML block covered a few hundred extensions at that time within the new GTLD program and gave brand holders a nice way to protect their marks without a need to defensively register the domains under these extensions. This was very much a welcome option by many brand holders, as it really gave a cost-effective way to protect their marks as new registrations continued to roll out. Over time, additional blocking mechanisms came out, and while many registries have not really seen the registration volume that they hoped for, they really started to turn into blocks as a way of driving revenue and giving trademark holders an option in this space, and rather than counting on defensive registrations, gave an option to block instead. It really may be a better alternative to many brand holders when it comes to, how much do I register, what is my budget? So blocking really became something as an attractive alternative for many in the new GTLD program. That combined with the Sunrise registration phases and the additional kind of protections you have as a brand mark holder became that part of a three-pronged defense mechanism for trademark holders during the new GTLD rollout. So as we see in the brief history of the marks, we first started with XXX, then Donuts launched their domain-protected marks block. In 2014, the Right Side Registry came out with their blocking mechanism, and then in 2015, Minds and Machines Registry started offering a block mechanism as well. So that was the start of blocking mechanisms, and then over time, the available blocking mechanisms really went through quite a transformation. As registry consolidation started happening, the configuration and coverage of all of the existing blocks really started to change, and it started to change quite significantly. Some blocks are more stable and then continue to grow in coverage and the TLDs they support over the years. And some of the blocks were acquired, some merged, some retired, and some were just maybe less stable within the industry. And all of those things are important as you consider your blocking strategy for your portfolio. So let's take a quick look at the last few years. In 2017, following the acquisition of RightSide by Donuts, the Donuts DPML block was expanded, and it added additional extensions previously managed by RightSide into its blocking mechanism. Then in 2018, the Trademark Clearing House came out with their blocking product, and that product integrated extensions from Minds and Machines. So as a consequence, the MPML block is no longer offered as a standalone product, and the TREX, as it's called, came into existence. In 2019, the Registry started offering a blocking mechanism that covered their extensions. In 2019, also .club launched a blocking mechanism for their own extension, the .club. And then the AdultBlock registry, which is the registry behind the XXX block as well, added an additional blocking mechanism called the AdultBlock. And then just recently, we've learned additional news about the Registry block now being retired. So that block will be slowly going away as well. What's expected to happen by the end of 2021 is also the transformation of the original XXX blocking mechanism into AdultBlock, and we'll dive deeper into that in our webinar today. So more to come, but these are just things to keep an eye on as registries continue to consolidate, merge, and some blocks surviving and some blocks expiring. So where are we today? 10 years into the new GTLD program, we really now have a very different landscape, and things have changed quite a lot since the first blocking mechanisms came out. We've learned from the different TLDs that have already launched what type of infringement there is on the market. We've seen blocking mechanisms continue and some collapse. And in this time of block consolidation, block retirement, the ongoing changes, not only the blocking mechanisms have changed, but most likely your own brands have gone through quite a similar transformation. So really 10 years into the program, it really is a good time to take a step back, and take a moment to review what existing blocking mechanisms you have in place and really get ready for the upcoming block changes as well and things that are coming up in 2021. We currently support 4 different blocking mechanisms. And in the next slides, we'll do a little bit of a deeper dive into the different blocking mechanisms offered today, but also those that are going through changes and those that will be going through changes by the end of the year. Your team here at CSC would be happy to talk to you and provide you any additional guidance and list of extensions covered, but hope that this will give you a great base on what to consider when blocking and what to worry about when it comes to the end of the year. The most recent change in our blocking mechanism is the announcement by UniRegistry that they are suspending the sale of the UniEPS blocking mechanism, which was in place for the last few years. So that's just something that's happening now. It's the most recent update. As of March 15th, it's no longer possible to register blocks within UniEPS and the UniEPS Plus offering. UniRegistry has sold their extensions in an auction process that took place on April 28th. We're still actually awaiting the results of the auctions to see who bought the extensions. What we know, though, is that UniRegistry will be encouraging any new owners to continue the blocking services for the extensions that were covered by the original block. What that may mean is if the domain extension is acquired by a registry that is currently offering a blocking mechanism, they will be asked to bring that extension into the fold of the block. So we can potentially see some blocking mechanisms expanding as a result of this auction. As an alternative, if the registry is not offering a blocking mechanism or is not part of the blocking mechanism today, they are being asked to put those extensions or the specific domains that are currently blocked under their reserved or banned list of domain names, so that trademark holders have a little bit of time to see how they want to protect them and whether they want to defensively register in the future or if they want to simply allow this block to expire. So more to come. We'll be observing what happened with those TLDs, who bought them, and which blocks will be covering them. And it's definitely something to keep an eye on if you had a UniEPS block in place. As I mentioned at the start of our webinar, not every blocking mechanism is the same. In fact, blocks really do cover a wide variety of extensions, and they have very different things that they cover within the offering. So we'll start by taking a quick look at the .club blocking mechanism. This block offered by the .club registry covers really just one TLD, the .club. But it does include some additional coverage. So beyond just the exact match to the trademark, any trademark that's deposited with the Trademark Clearing House would also have the coverage with additional keywords, typos, IDNs, and homoglyphs. So this particular block covers not just the exact match, but also additional keywords within it. Here, the Trademark Clearing House registration that you own has to be valid for the duration of the entire lifetime of the blocking mechanism as well. And the block would cover both normal and premium domain names. So again, some of important elements to keep in mind as you're deciding whether to block or not. Now let's take a quick look at the Trademark Clearing House, or the TREX blocking mechanism. This block actually works across multiple new GTLDs as well as certain CCTLDs, so it has a little bit of a mixed coverage here when it comes to extensions, and it covers the TLDs that were under the legacy DPML service in this case. When it comes to Trademark Clearing House blocks, they do protect the exact match of the term that you have registered with the Trademark Clearing House. So unlike the .club, we're looking here at the exact match coverage. And here also in the same way, the Trademark Clearing House registration would have to remain in place for the duration of the block. The block does not cover any typos, IDNs, or homoglyphs, and would block newly available domain names after they are allowed to expire, but this block would cover only normal grade domain names, meaning it does not cover any of your premium domain registration. The third blocking mechanism that exists today is the Donuts DPML block. Here we have a coverage across 241 new gTLDs that are offered by the Donuts registry. So when it comes to the overall coverage of the block, here we really have a broad range of extensions that would be blocked by, from registrations by third parties. Donuts has two versions of their blocking mechanism. They have a basic version that matches and covers the exact match term of your block, of your trademark. And they also have a DPML Plus version, which gives you additional coverage here. It would cover premium domain names. It would also cover up to 3 domains with misspellings of your trademark. So there's some additional variants here you can consider and get that broader coverage for a little bit of a higher price there. Both DPML and the DPML Block Plus versions will require for your Trademark Clearing House registration to stay active throughout the duration of the blocks as well. So we talked a little bit about how do blocks fit into your overall defensive domain name strategy. And as you consider the different blocks and their coverage, you can continue to think how many extensions do they cover, what's my cost risk benefit here from getting a block. And Donuts definitely provides here quite a broad coverage across a large list of extensions. One thing to consider within the Donuts block as well is in the last months and in the upcoming months, we have seen quite a few new gTLDs being acquired by the Donuts registry. So we can only expect that the TLDs included in or the list of TLDs included in their blocking mechanism will continue to grow. Let's take a look at the fourth available blocking mechanism, which is the AdultBlock. The AdultBlocks have been offered by the ICM registry since 2019, but these are really the blocks that we have to keep an eye on this year because of the expiry of the original XXX blocks in December of 2021. The ICM registry offers a regular block and an AdultBlock Plus version, similarly to Donuts. Here you have, within the AdultBlock, a coverage up to just the exact match to your Trademark Clearing House registration string, whereas the AdultBlock Plus provides you a more comprehensive coverage. It covers homoglyphs, IDN variations of the mark, but also includes all of the labels within your SMD file within the Trademark Clearing House. So just a little bit more coverage for that extra plus within the block. Another thing to keep an eye on with AdultBlocks, historically, of course, it covers 4 extensions. Historically, the XXX registrations were really limited to members of the adult industry, and we haven't seen a ton of infringement in that space. The AdultBlock registry has been recently acquired by GoDaddy Registry Services, and we are expecting that they may be relaxing some of the registration rules by the end of the year as well, meaning opening up the extensions for registration by anyone, not just a member of the adult industry, meaning the blocking mechanisms may become a little bit more meaningful here as well, especially from that reputational side. So just something to keep an eye on and consider as you're looking to block or defensively block your trademarks. So let's do a little bit of a deeper dive into the adult blocking mechanisms and take a look who's currently eligible to register a block. Here, there are different ways of qualifying for an adult block. One of the ways is by owning the original XXX Sunrise B. So when the original extension XXX launched within the adult TLDs, trademark holders, as we said, could register a block about 10 years ago to protect their brands. Those existing Sunrise B registrations and those original blocks can now be converted into an adult block mechanism instead. So you can take a coverage from one TLD, the XXX, into covering all four if you had that original block. Another way to qualify is by having a Trademark Clearing House registration. So if you own a valid Trademark Clearing House registration today and you have an SMD file, you can register a new block as well. So you have those two ways of applying for a block. In addition to that, starting May 11th, AdultBlock services will actually be available to any trademark holder. So the registry is opening up the space beyond just the standard Trademark Clearing House registration and the original blocks, and will be allowing any trademark holder to apply for a block without a need to register that trademark with the Trademark Clearing House. Trademarks will be validated by a third-party validation agent, but the registry's hope is that they can help brand holders and unregistered trademark holders to also be able to participate in their blocking service. So what's happening at the end of 2021, and that's the thing to keep an eye on when it comes to your Sunrise B registrations or adult blocks in general. We mentioned that originally the XXX extension allowed to block for a period of 10 years. The registry originally launched the service and launched the blocking mechanism with a 10-year scope in mind. Now this 10-year period is expiring in December of 2021, and what will happen is any existing Sunrise B registration will be automatically converted into an adult block service. So owners of existing blocks within the XXX space will now be automatically qualified and converted into an adult blocking mechanism, and that new block will now cover all four extensions within the ICM registry's offering. It is important because the blocks originally registered for 10 years, and it was a once and done type of a scenario, so the blocks continue to exist without any additional impacts or kind of view into those blocks within your budgeting space. So as trademark holders are looking at their 2022 budgets, it will be very important to take a look at your existing portfolio, see what blocking mechanisms you currently have in place, and really strategically evaluate which blocks you wish to auto-convert, which blocks you would maybe want to expire because they're no longer part of your trademark portfolio, and maybe which blocks are missing from your existing list. So as this 10-year anniversary is fast approaching, we do recommend taking a step back and reviewing your existing blocking mechanisms within this space. So what are some of the things we need to consider when it comes to adult blocking? As I mentioned, it's good to take a step back now that we're 10 years into the program and really reconsider what you would do today. Your trademark portfolio has probably changed just as much as the blocking mechanisms have over the past few years. So it's a great opportunity to take a moment, step back, and really rethink if you were to do it again, what brand strengths or what trademarks would you protect in this adult blocking space? And what's important to consider is always, what is your risk appetite? So what is your appetite as an organization when it comes to your balance between the risk and the budget? How broad or how narrowly do you want to protect your marks? And where is it really meaningful for you as a brand holder? So some questions to kind of think of or items to consider when you should consider blocking. You really want to take a look at your brands and think of the brands that are maybe commonly recognized. These are your top brands that users and consumers see and recognize. These are probably brands you would want to protect, and blocking is a great way of incorporating that into your domain name strategy. You may also want to consider brands that are typically susceptible to phishing or where you commonly have phishing challenges and where you see a lot of cybercrime activity happening. But you may also, in this particular space, think about brands that may take a very different meaning in the adult industry. So things that may sound innocent in a regular setting but take on a different meaning in the adult space. You may want to look at brands and trademarks that protect individuals or specific characters. A good way to start sometimes is looking at your Trademark Clearing House registrations and seeing what you currently have within that space, as it typically translates into the things you register in new Sunrise phases. So rather than registering, blocking may be a great way of adding that to your defensive strategy. And you may also really think of what is your corporate policy, and do we want to have any of our brands associated with the adult industry? What is, again, our risk appetite here, and what is our stance as an organization? Do we want those brands exposed or not? And then, of course, after you take a look at what you currently have, it's equally important to take a look at what's currently potentially missing. So if there are blocks that maybe exist with third parties or brands you haven't blocked at this point because you didn't really consider that as part of your blocking strategy, it's a great opportunity to take a quick view at what you have, what you don't have, and what you would block or what you would want to block as part of this program. So we've taken a look at all the available blocking mechanisms today. The last thing I just wanted to kind of have you think about is just your Trademark Clearing House registrations and some things to consider as we start to wrap up today's webinar. Blocks and Trademark Clearing House registrations really do and should go hand in hand. As you saw, many of the blocking mechanisms we have in place today require a valid Trademark Clearing House registration in order to apply and then retain the block. So as you review your blocking mechanisms, it's also a great opportunity to take a step back and review your existing Trademark Clearing House registration. For those of you who are not familiar with the TMCH, TMCH stands for Trademark Clearing House. It's really just a database of validated and registered trademarks that was established by ICANN to help trademark holders prevent infringement within the new GTLD program. It is not a trademark office. You have to have a registered trademark within a specific jurisdiction, and then you validate it or clear it with the Trademark Clearing House, and that in return allows you to receive what's called an SMD file that allows you to take active participation in Sunrise B launches or phases of the launch, but also allows you to get additional notifications in case someone else registers your exact match to your brand that's registered with the Trademark Clearing House during a new GTLD launch. So the Trademark Clearing House really helps you facilitate Sunrise B registrations, gives you some additional notification options, and of course allows you to qualify for a blocking service as well. So as you're looking at your portfolios, your blocking mechanisms, it's perfect time to take a look at your Trademark Clearing House registrations as well, and defining in the same way, what do I need to have versus what I currently have. As we said, the program is now 10 years old, so it's a good moment to take a step back, review, clean up, and make sure that you have the right brands protected within the new GTLD space. So to summarize today's webinar, I wanted to give you a nice visual here of what's currently in place and what are the different coverages that the different blocking mechanisms provide. And as we said, no blocks are the same. So as you're reviewing the different blocking mechanisms available today, you really have to consider what is your risk appetite, what is your budget, but also what is the blocks coverage and how it will help protect my trademarks online. So I do hope that this little graphic will allow you to help with the decision-making process and allow you to make the right decisions on what to block and what not to block over time. So as we're wrapping up, again, just as a reminder, it has been 10 years. The blocking mechanisms continue to change and evolve over time. And I hope that the brief history and the summary of those different types of coverage will help you in determining what to block and what not to block. Don't forget, you can always reach out to our team here at CSC, both your existing team members, the strategic account management team, our brand advisory team are here to help. So if you're looking for assistance with determining what brands to block, what your defensive domain name strategy should be, which blocks are meaningful for you and for your organization, let us know. We're here to help.
Thanks for that great presentation, Eva. Let's move into what's upcoming. Our next newsletter will send on May 25th. For upcoming webinars, we have Domain and DNS Security for the Australian Cybersecurity Strategy on June 2nd. Our next industry updates, What CSC Security Center Can Do for You on June 10th. On June 16th, we have Automated Digital Certificate Management in German. And on June 22nd, we have Automated Digital Certificate Management in Italian.